on the app if this is going to be a little bit repetitive, but not. But we'll keep it fresh for you because we got a lot of good sound. All right, folks, we're back on the stream here. We're back on YouTube. We're back on everything. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties there. The best part about this, though, what's the best part of it? Do you know what the best part about this is?
The worst part is that you are the one who fixed it, and that's
old head. Isn't that what you call it?
Yeah, because the only like solution type things that are just reboot and hit the power button and move on.
And guess what? It works every single time. When in doubt, reboot. That's what we do, and it works almost every single time. So we're rebooted. Thank you guys for joining us now as we're back up on the stream. We see the numbers going up. So anyway, we got a good show for you today. TJ Rives is going to join us. Haley Hunter will join us at 11:45, talk some golf from the Golf Channel. We got a lot of sound for you as well from Tom Brady and Todd Bowles that we got to get into that is very, very interesting. So my whole monologue today is based on we've been bitching for what? We've been bitching here for 3 weeks, but it's time to start looking for solutions for this team. And I do believe that they can get out of this funk, but they're going to have to make major changes and some bold changes that, frankly, I do not think the Bucs are willing to make. And that's going to be the problem. This starts, and I'm going to get into the sound right away. So do you have Bowles queued up?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're going to start with Brady, right? We're going to start with Brady. Bowles yesterday said that basically if Nick Leverett and Luke Goedeke are healthy, that Goedeke is going to start this game. And there may be a rotation. Folks, you don't rotate on the offensive line. You don't do it. I don't know where this is coming from. Is it coming from Jason Light? Is it coming from Tom Brady? Definitely not. I have no idea where this is coming from. You don't rotate on the offensive line. You have a starter. The starter is in there. He has to get used to it. Every game is different. You have to get used to what the calls are, where the speed's coming from, the speed of the rush, the speed of the twist, how you're working with Donovan Smith. Nick Leverett needs to get chemistry with Donovan Smith. Moving in and out of the lineup is not the way to do it. Why is there this absolute obsession with making Luke Goedeke a starting guard in this league when he's not ready? He's not ready. And his pedigree suggests that he shouldn't even be ready. And this one aspect can be blowing up your entire team because this offense is predicated on Tom Brady being comfortable in the pocket, being able to step into throws, which means no interior pressure. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but Tom's not real good throwing off platform. He's not good throwing off his back foot. He's not good throwing on the run. He has to sit in the pocket and have the room to step into the throw to be accurate and have the rhythm that he needs. That has been impossible this year. So that move right there, and Nick Leverett has a much higher pass blocking rate, even in limited duty. And turn on the film. He's better. He's just better. And he's experienced. This kid is just over his skis right now. Totally predictable, by the way, from his pedigree that we talked about earlier. Central Michigan, right tackle. It's not working. And it was a deep, long shot in the beginning. Should have changed this weeks ago. But this is a focal point. And again, it also sends a message to the rest of the team that there's no accountability across the board. Doesn't matter how bad you play. If you're a second-round pick and we like you, we're going to put you in. That's not the way you play football. Can't do it. Can't do it. Not in the NFL. This is a professional league. There are jobs that are at stake. You got to put food on the table. Can't do it. And you lose credibility as a coaching staff when you do things like this. Did you want to say something? No.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he did play his best game of the season, whatever that means, right?
Who?
Luke Goedeke. It was his best game, even though he still graded out poorly from a blocking standpoint on Pro Football Focus. So it wasn't like it was substantially better, and it was also by far the worst defensive line that he's gone up against. Yeah. And Nick Leverett came in there and actually not only did he grade out positively, he graded out fantastic. He was in the 80s from a blocking standpoint.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer, and it's a huge part of the problem on offense. A huge, huge part of the problem on offense. And if you're not going to coach around it by giving them help, although even there's sometimes I saw them try to chip on. I don't think I've ever seen a running back chip with a guard, But Leonard Fournette did chip on him one time going out on a route. And of course, that slows him down from getting out to the route, messes up the timing, and screwed up the play. So you're trying to coach, even when you coach around it, it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So that's one change that you have to absolutely make. And I mentioned this on the app before the streamers came aboard. This is the second slowest team in the league. They've got to add more speed everywhere across the board. Leonard Fournette should no longer be running back one, and we'll hear from Todd Bowles here in a second. Rashad White should be the starting running back. That's another bold choice that needs to be made that they are not willing to make. I'm going to tell you that right now. Even though Rashad White's snaps are going up, his snaps need to be way more than Leonard Fournette. Sorry, that's just where this offense is at right now. Keyshawn Vaughn hasn't been seen forever. This guy's got burst. He's got speed. We saw him last year make a couple of big plays, unbelievable touchdown run. When you're the last in rushing, don't you have to try something different, some different eyes? And running backs make all the difference in the world. Guys with vision and speed and burst, can take the same blocking that Leonard Fournette's getting and turn it into a positive situation. You got to try something different when you're last in the league. Do something different. Are they willing to do it? Doesn't appear to be. It's at receiver. Russell Gage is probably not going to play this week. He's got a hamstring injury. He's been a bust. We need more speed. Take the top off the defense. Get Scotty Miller in there. Get Devin Tompkins in there. Get somebody else in there. Tompkins made play after play after play after play in the preseason. I get it. It's against, guys that probably aren't playing right now. But from what I'm seeing, we need more options. So these are other things you look at some of the snap of Akeem Hicks practice yesterday. For God's sakes, we need to get him back in there. And if you're not going to count on Hicks, go do what you can to go get Ndamukong Suh if he's still interested in playing. Because Vita Vea has become a different player without Ndamukong Suh. That's pretty true. So these are all. If you met Jalen Darden, I would cut him right now. I'm sorry. This guy runs for the sidelines every chance he gets. On the jet sweep you gave him, he dove for the ground before he got hit. He has no interest in contact, and everybody on this team knows it. By keeping him out there, it's the same thing as Nick Leverett. You're sending a message that for some reason, we want this guy out here, and he's not. And you can look at his numbers and say he's middle of the pack in return yards. I don't care. I don't want a guy out there that won't sacrifice for his team. It's a bad message that you're sending, a horrible message that you're sending. So these are, and by the way, and Bruce Arians, get your ass back in there. Bruce Arians has to be involved in every way possible. That's in game planning. That's in accountability. I would put Bruce up there last year. They would meet as a team and they would go over accountability, and Bruce would call people out. That's what he's done the last 3 years. The culture changed. And if Todd Bowles is as magnanimous with his team as he is at the podium, and he's probably not behind closed doors. I'm sure he holds guys accountable, but from a public standpoint, he never does. He's never called one name out and said, this guy's, screwing up. Not one. And to me, that matters. Guys watch these press conferences. And if you're going to go out, if they know their coach is going to go out there and say, look, this guy ain't getting it done. Like Bruce Arians, he never had a problem doing it. Never. Because he had the relationship, and Todd has the relationships with his players. Do it. Light a fire under this team some way. Todd Bowles, I know you're this guy, and I get it. But when you're losing and you're getting your ass kicked like this, you got to do something. You got to change it up. Are you bold enough to make the changes? I don't think they are. As an organization, I don't think they are.
Can I bring up a point real quick to the Bruce Arians thing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the report, and this was during the 40 days of bizarreness when Brady retired and all these stories were coming out? Do you remember the one story, and I can't remember the source of it now, who said that Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady would make a game plan, and Bruce would come in with the proverbial red pin?
Yeah, that's what Solomon Wilcots told me at the Super Bowl on this very show.
And he would totally just scratch everything out, rip up the whole game plan, and say, "No, we're doing this differently."
Not the whole game plan. He would redline a couple of things.
I'm paraphrasing the original source. I think it might have been Ornberger.
Yeah.
Rich Ornberger might have been the guy.
And I got the same thing for Solomon.
Yeah.
It was all the chitter chat and Radio Row.
And I think we spent a whole 40 days trying to justify, no, that didn't happen. I tell you what, I mean, again, these things are amplified and they become discussions now when you're losing. But damn if it doesn't seem like a plausible thing, right?
Yeah.
And I know the Bucs, they had to suspend Bruce Arians' Ring of Honor enshrinement or whatever it was because of the hurricane against the Chiefs. I'd postpone it for the entire year because Bruce still has work to do as far as I'm concerned. And like you've been saying all week, it's going to be tough. You are going to end coaching careers doing this, and it's going to be drama filled. But again, if you want to maximize your last year with Tom Brady before all hell breaks loose after that, for all we know, you have to do everything.
You know what's going to end coaching careers?
Hmm.
Going 4-13 with Tom Brady in his last year.
4-13. They ain't going 4-13.
The way they couldn't beat, they got shellacked by the Panthers, my friend. In case you weren't watching, that was the Carolina
I was
Panthers, 21-3. You couldn't score a touchdown. The Panthers, without Christian McCaffrey, ran for 173 yards, 6.1 yards per carry.
It's bad.
You think they're going to beat what team? What team on their schedule are they going to beat, Mr. Prognosticator? When you play like that, I haven't seen, but let me check the schedule. Is Slippery Rock on there? Is UCF on there?
Oh man, come on.
Is USF on there?
Strike a nerve there.
Let me check. Nope, I don't see them. It's just NFL teams? Yeah. I don't see a win. You see a win? What game are they winning after they played like that? Yeah, exactly.
It's tough to justify.
You want to end your coaching career, Todd Bowles?
We've been saying that. If you stick with the status quo right now,
you want a job? Byron Leftwich finished 32nd in the league in running the football. Finished 23rd in the league in total offense with Tom Brady and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith. And that's how you end your coaching career. So you think you think that you don't want to make the bold changes that you need to make and to do it right now because you think people will go, what are you doing, man? We're already saying, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? You got to make changes. This team has got to get faster. It's got to get faster. It's got to get younger, and it's got to get faster. Start playing other guys that are young and fast.
This is the Jaguars' fault, the more I think about it. This is their fault because that is an awful run franchise, and they had to just somehow make a smart move and go with Doug Peterson.
Yes.
And they could have took Byron Leftwich off our hands. And
he said no to the job. How do you think they're feeling right now? Pretty good. This is a good point by Joe F. right here, and this is actually something that's realistic. Well, let's put it
You
up.
said speed. Make a trade for speed, get a playmaker. Kadarius Toney, who, by the way, is like in the doghouse with the Giants right now.
So you want to bring in a disgruntled player?
He's not a disgruntled player.
Well, if he's in a doghouse, why is he in a doghouse with a good coach like Brian Daboll? You don't think Brian Daboll
There's been some injury issues there.
Well, we want to take on more bad attitudes?
I don't think he's a bad attitude guy, but
if he's in the doghouse, what's going on?
From the limited times I've seen him out there, he's very explosive and he can play.
So you have a coach like Brian Daboll who comes from, I think, obviously a winning system. He's doing a hell of a job, and they're winning football games. And so you want, just because the guy can run and he's a playmaker, this football is so much more than that. Jalen Darden can run. I won't say it, but you got to be. There's just so much more to it. You got to be able to know your plays. You got to have a good attitude. If you're not getting the ball, you can't bitch and moan. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know, but if he's in the doghouse, I don't want to add the guy. I mean, that's just like bringing AB back. No, I mean, I know he's not AB. He hasn't proven that yet. But if he's in the doghouse, I don't want him. But I don't even know that he's in. You're telling me that. I don't know.
I'm saying that, but he's injured right now. He's got a hamstring injury, which, I mean, do I want to add more hamstring injuries to this roster? Probably not. But I think there was something. I think this was more last year. Last year he was not a Joe Judge guy, but he was explosive when he was in there.
Look, Scott Miller's the fastest guy in the NFL. Just ask him. He can return punts. That's the first thing I would do. You got to make bold changes. You got to send messages. You can't just sit up there at the podium and say the same old shit. You can't. You got to throw a chair. Every once in a while, you got to throw a chair. And somebody needs to turn over a table. And it's not happening. Bruce Arians would. He'd come up. I can't imagine what he would be saying at the podium right now.
Yeah,
but I can tell you what, it wouldn't be, Well, if Luke Goedeke is healthy, he's going to play. He'd be going, no, we got to get guys in there that can play.
And if Brady's not playing well, which there were stretches where,
he'd be ripping Brady right now.
Remember he did that last year or the year
Of course he
before, and
did.
everybody got onto him like,
Yes.
"Oh, how dare you?"
Except me.
Yeah,
Except me.
but they were like, "How dare you do it?" And it's like right now, it's like we'll listen to Todd Bowles here in a little bit, but it's like every time I hear him speak, I'm like, I'm waiting for you to say something about the quarterback.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yes.
It doesn't happen.
No. And he's playing poorly, really, really bad. Like watching the All-22, we said it yesterday.
It didn't look good when I went back and watched it yesterday.
No, it's terrible.
There's moments of brilliance. There still is, but there's a lot of skittish is a good word for it.
We were talking about that one play to Rachaad White where he's doing a choice route and taking his sweet-ass time making the wrong choice, but he was open. And Brady's got a clean pocket by 4 yards. And it's a short throw, and he abandons Rachaad White because he thinks that the time clock in his head is now 2.5 seconds. I'm getting hit.
Yeah.
But he had good protection that particular time, and he still looked over. He panicked. He threw high to Leonard Fournette, incomplete pass out there. And that was 2nd and 10. I think if you throw it to Rachaad White, you probably get a first down, or it's 3rd and 2, something at least. I mean, this is bad quarterback play. You go and look at the 3rd down right before we kick the meaningless field goal. Rachaad White is in a route combination with Godwin. There's 3 guys around Godwin, and Brady never takes his eyes off him. It's an easy read as Gage goes to the back pylon. He's open by 10 yards. There's nobody with him. It was a miscommunication. It was a bust. And you're reading that particular guy, and you still tried to fit the ball into Godwin.
Yeah, and
Gage is sitting in the back of the end zone with his hands like this, like, what are you doing, bro?
And it's boggling. He looks to Chris Godwin more than he looks to any receiver.
And he locks in on him like a rookie.
But the thing that's weird is I don't even see – this is not the same Chris Godwin of yes. This is not the same Chris Godwin.
He's not getting separation.
He's not getting separation. He doesn't have a lot of burst to him anymore. He's not breaking tackles, or he doesn't have the confidence to take on whatever it is.
And he'll get that back.
And he'll get it back. But Brady's still looking his way like 10 times a game. Yeah. His connection with Mike Evans is way better than Chris Godwin. I'm seeing Mike Evans wide open on some plays where he's beating his guy single-handedly. When it goes to Godwin, to me, it's always a low percentage throw. Like he has to fit it in in a tiny window. He has to throw it low.
Yes.
They need to get away from that right now.
Yes. Yes. And who's pulling the trigger? Byron Leftwich? No. Byron Leftwich is not sitting in the pocket making these reads. He's not. And we're going to talk to Byron Leftwich today. And it's
he's
probably
speaking today?
Yeah, he's speaking today with Brady. So that's going to be interesting.
Lunchtime's going to be fun today.
Yeah. I'm going over there. We'll see what happens. And, it's going to be a very interesting session today. But all right, so let's play. I want to play Brady from last night because we haven't, we played a little bowls yesterday, but let's take a break first. We're going to take a break first. We got to get some bills paid here with our great sponsors who we apologize to our sponsors today for getting on late, but we'll make it up to you. We'll get those spots in today. So thanks to Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, and also Jeeves Law Group. We're giving away 4 tickets to the Florida-Georgia game this weekend, folks. You got to get your videos in. Send them to our social media at the JP Peterson Show, at FanStreamJP. Just a short video of why Gators are better than Bulldogs, and you could win 2 tickets to the Florida-Georgia game. These tickets are worth like $500 a pair. So get your videos on, and we'll pick the winners on Friday. Thanks to the Jeeves Law Group. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports.
It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties, but we got it all rolling now, so we'll get into the meat of the show. And TJ Rives is going to join us at 11:15. We thank our advertisers for sticking around with us. Hey, another big event we got coming up I want to tell you about. I will be emceeing the 2022 Florida Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony next week at Raymond James Stadium, a week from tomorrow, Wednesday night. And for the first time, fans can be a part of this exciting night. November 2nd, next Wednesday at Ray J. East Club, you can experience a spectacular evening as Florida's best and brightest sports celebrities are inducted into the historic and prestigious Florida Sports Hall of Fame. The Lightning's Vinny LeCavalier, World Series hero Luis Gonzalez, Bucs Super Bowl MVP Dexter Jackson, great sportscaster Pam Oliver, used to work at Channel 13, FSU All-American Barry Smith, our good friend, golf's Fred Ridley, the Augusta chairman, and so many more will be inducted. It's got a real Tampa Bay flavor this year. That's why it's here. Fans, you'll be able to enjoy a cocktail reception with heavy hors d'oeuvres, so we'll get some good food in you. We'll have a great silent auction. You'll have the enshrinement ceremony where we're going to interview all of the Hall of Famers going in and have some great stories. So it's going to be a great evening of just reliving some of their great careers. And we're going to have an after party as well. So, yeah, there you go. So it's going to be a great night. Go to floridasportshof.org, floridasportshof.org to purchase your tickets. It's presented by Fanatics and Morgan & Morgan. That's floridasportshof.org. All right. So Brady did his podcast last night, his well-sponsored podcast, and we got a lot more, I think, intimate peek into what's going on in his head, what's going on with the team. The first 15, 20 minutes of it was a lot of cliches, but at the end, I think he got into some more meaningful stuff that gives us a sneak peek into where his head's at and what's going on with this team. So let's check out the last part of this conversation with Jim Gray on the Let's Go podcast. Here we go.
Work hard to get it right. I think that's the point. Is it's just, yeah, you can think about the outcome, and I try to think about the process. So it feels terrible losing. It feels terrible. We all know, as fans, it feels terrible. As players, it feels terrible. As coaches, it feels terrible. So what do? Do you just do the same thing and then show up to the game the same way? No, you focus on the process of improvement. And that's what it has to be. It's not about one play here, one play there. It's all the plays that all add up to a final outcome. And that outcome is, we're going to have to change it from the player standpoint, because we're on the field that can do something about it. And if we want to do something about it, we've got to do more. And we got to commit to one another more. Got to play harder. Got to play faster. Got to play stronger, more determined, better execution, all the things. And then you hope that once you find your rhythm, that can continue to carry you. So there are a lot of competitors that we have, and I know that we have a strong belief that we're going to find a way, and we're going to keep fighting as hard as we can. And there's no quit in our group, and there will never be a quit as long as I'm a part of any team. I know that for sure.
Let's stop it right there. This is the other thing that has to happen. Tom Brady has to become Tom Brady again. We've heard it from Ben Roethlisberger. We've heard it from Peyton Manning. We've heard it from Jeff Saturday. We've heard it from all these guys around the national figures, guys that have played this game at a high level. This is not the same Tom Brady. And I've told you guys, I've been in these press conferences for 3 years now. And this is not the same guy. He's not carrying himself the same way. He doesn't have the same confidence. He doesn't have the same vibe. It's a meek man that is stepping to the podium. And I hate to say that, but this is what I'm seeing. And this matters, because when you're playing quarterback in the NFL, that is the ultimate alpha dude job. It is the ultimate alpha dude job. You cannot have a lack of confidence in your team or yourself. You got to go out there with a full chest, and you got to be committed to what you're doing and what everybody else is doing. And that is not what we see from Tom Brady. Tom Brady has lit up the offensive line once. Look how bad this football team is. And you know why he's not lighting everybody up? Because he's the worst one, and he knows it. I talk about authenticity. Right. And the reason that Brady has been such a great leader is because he's authentic, or was. Because he was the hardest worker. Because he outprepared everybody. Because everything he did in his life was about football. And people marveled at it and wanted to emulate it. Look at that's not the case anymore. And I don't say that in a mean way. I say it in a factual way. This divorce, this offseason, everything that he's been going through, he knows that all of his teammates know that he tried to go to the Miami Dolphins. They know that. Everybody knows it. Hard to walk in. I said this before the season. Hard to walk into that locker room and be authentic when everybody in that locker room knows you were trying to get out of there. That's the hard truth. It's the hard truth. That whole Miami Dolphin thing, that whole retirement thing, Giselle wanted him down to Miami, start everything down there. Didn't work out. The Bucs called his bluff. That's factual. And so now what's the dynamic between the coaches and Tom Brady? He comes back in. I want this. I want this. I want this. That's the norm, right? That's the norm. But everybody knows it's not the same. It's not the same. Okay. Now you have lots of changes from a personnel standpoint that are affecting him. The offensive line, obviously, receivers, injuries, all that stuff. But he is not the same guy. And Tom Brady needs to turn that around, because it's all up here. It's all up here. I talked about this a little yesterday. When you go through a divorce and you go through all these personal issues and your family's involved and your kids are involved, I don't care if it's Tom Brady or who it is, it affects you mentally. Everything you do. I remember I was anchoring at News Channel 8 at that particular time that I went through my divorce. And you can't concentrate on your job. You can't. It's almost impossible to do it. And your brain is so scrambled. I can't, and I was just anchoring a local news show. I can't imagine being on Front Street to the world every day, exposed to how good or bad I'm going to play. And my mind has all these things going on. But Tom Brady has the best mental approach in the history of sports, save maybe Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, all in the same category. He has the ability to turn this around, to say, and this is why I said the other day he needed to go and apologize to his teammates for going to that wedding and stand up in front of them and saying, this shit is over. I'm 100% in now. And for the next 4 months or whatever it is, let's freaking go. I don't know if that's happened behind the scenes, but it needs to happen. He needs to step up and say, I'm not good enough. I wish he would do it publicly because I think it would have an effect. I really, really do. And that needs to happen. And he says it on his podcast that there was a hint of that in there. Did you hear it?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I can tell you again, like being in that editorial business, I guess, so to say, I see all the stories that are written every single day about this man and his personal life. I mean, it's every single day. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 different original stories about what's going on. Yeah. And it's like there's one yesterday about his, I don't know if they were even married, but Bridget Moya, what's her name?
Moynihan.
Yeah, there was something she put out, I guess. And so now she's in the middle of this. And it's just, we have to realize the guy's human.
Yes.
The guy's human.
He's
so
not a robot.
We're not saying this. I know you're not saying it. And you've already specified that. You're not saying it in a meaningful way. No. It's just a factual way.
I have a lot of compassion for him. I really do.
And I have no doubt if there's something that he felt that he needed to apologize to, it definitely happened behind closed doors. I don't think you're going to see him go out there and put that, but everything he does is under a microscope right now. Everything he does, everything he says. I think that's why you're getting, and he's always been Mr. Cliche, but I think even this year he's been even more extra cliche because he knows everything he says is under a microscope, every story. And at some point, we keep saying maybe he's immune to it. At some point, he probably just has to be like, enough, man. Yeah. Like, just everybody leave me alone. Just let me do my thing. But it's impossible. And I think a lot of people keep saying, too, in regards to can the Bucs fix this? Everybody puts, if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be Tom Brady, right? At some point, you're not going to be able to overcome everything. At some point, it's going to happen to everybody.
I know.
So that's the only thing I'm scared about right now. It happens to everybody. Every great player that has ever played any sport, there comes a time where you just can't overcome things anymore.
Can't do it anymore.
You can't do it anymore.
Time, even with him.
And I don't even think Father Time is catching up to him physically because physically he looks great.
He's the same guy last year that led the league in passing.
Exactly. Physically he looks great. I think he's throwing harder this year than he did last year.
His arm looks great.
I think it's just taking its toll above the neck right now for him.
Absolutely. And why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? Let's continue.
And Tom, it was even quasi-suggested last week that perhaps you would quit if things don't go the way you want them to and turn around this season. And you made it clear that there's no retirement in your future. You ever think about quitting?
I said last week that there's no immediate retirement in my future. There was a retirement in the past, but I moved on from that. But certainly not. I've never, I made a commitment to this team, and I love this team, and I love this organization. I told them in March I was playing, and I've never quit on anything in my life. And I know a bunch of teammates that we all count on one another to be at our best and to work hard and to put the team first. And that's what you commit to, and that's what you want your teammates to commit to as well. And I was a part of an amazing organization that taught me so many great things over 20 years in New England. And I was a part of a great college that it was always about the team. And when I got to the Bucs, I've had nothing but a great experience here. And, I want to keep fighting as hard as I can. And I'm always trying to do better. I'm always trying to work hard. And I'm always trying to commit more to the things that are important to me. And this team is very important to me. And I certainly want to be the best I can be for them.
And great teams and great organizations don't quit. They don't look for draft picks. They don't look for next year. They look for what's going on right now, and they try and get better and win, and that's what we're going to do here.
And that's a great point too, Jim. I mean, I think that's a great point, because if you look at a loser mentality, you do quit when it gets hard. You do quit when things don't go your way. And I think the beautiful part about life is the adversities challenge you to figure out who you really are. The adversities challenge you to dig deep and to work with your teammates to try to get the problem solved. And the interesting part is it's always easier just to, oh, let's think about next year or this or that. Or, there's teams that we're only 7 games into the year. That's the last thing I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, what do I need to do today to be better for the people in this locker room? What do I need to do better today for myself to be the best I could be for this team, professionally? And that's what you try to do. And there's no right, I always think there's people that, when you have a car crash, there's people that run to the car crash, there's people that run away from the car crash. And really, when it comes down to it, you want to be with the people that run to it, that are trying to fix it and solve it. And the last thing you want is to people run away. Everyone can be there during the parades. Everyone can be there when everyone's telling you how great you are. Who are you when things aren't great? Who are you when things don't go your way? What kind of, when you face adversity in life, who are the people that stand by you? And that's what adversities really challenge you to figure out. And I'm really excited to see what we make of this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked about it a lot, and I think, the time for talk, and Todd Bowles said it, is over.
Yeah.
The time for talk is over about what you need to do.
I wish he would have I hate to say this, but it is Aaron Rodgers. I wish he would have a "you're goddamn right" moment. I haven't seen that from Tom.
I don't know if you're going to get it, to be honest with you. I don't know if you're going to get that in the public. I don't think you're going to get that.
Why not?
You know why? Not the way he's got to step outside of the comfort zone.
It's not true yet. He's done it before. He's done it. That's what he's been about his whole career. When stuff goes south, he's the one standing up, screaming and yelling, because he's usually the one most well prepared and playing well.
Yeah,
and he's not. It's hard to be a leader when you're not leading, and he's not leading right now. Let's continue a little bit more. There's one more quote I want to get to here: the sense of urgency.
And who do you turn to in these situations?
Well, I turn to the people that can do something about it, obviously, which are the people that, I'm working with right now. So, I have a lot of great support. I have a lot of great family and friends that are really encouraging, off the field. I have a lot of great people in this building that encourage us to do better. And that's what it's about. I mean, we got it. There's no team that's got every answer right now. There's no team that got everything figured out. You're our challenge. You're challenged mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's what sports are about. That's what life's about. And how you overcome it, and how do you place blame, or do you accept responsibility? When the great teams I've been a part of, they accept responsibility for where that, and they try to make it better. And that's what you do in life.
So from what I'm hearing from you is you believe this is fixable, that you can fix third down conversions, that you can fix a running game, that you can fix the mental errors and the penalties, that all of this is the first 7 games and you don't want to evaluate it till Thanksgiving? Or
no, I think what I believe is that there's a commitment to the process of improvement. That's what I believe. So everything's hopeful. I mean, you could make up all this out, and there's a lot of hot air that people will blow smoke, on after every loss. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. I mean, you got to believe in the process of trying to get better, and the commitment to try to make it better for one another. So again, that's why I said it remains to be seen. The future tells everything. Everyone can say whatever they want after week 7. You'll know after the season ends who really bared down, who really dealt with adversity, who really overcame the challenges. That remains to be seen. I know we all want to predict that in week 7, and that's because there's a lot going on, and we got to talk about what's in the moment, which is absolutely right. But from the competitor in the arena, you want to see what it's like when things don't go well, and who's there by your side, and who's there fighting there with you when things aren't going the way that you want. And if you have a great support system, you have great people behind you, and teammates, coaches, support off the field, then you will find that way to overcome that. And you're going to learn valuable lessons in the meantime. That's what it's all about for all of us.
Well, you talk about in the moment, and in the moment, everybody is saying a lot of the things that you have heard for years, but now it's kind of happening collectively in this moment. The struggles of yourself and Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and the teams that you're on, it points to the fact that, the younger men, a young man's game, as we've often heard, no matter what stage of life you're in, that's where it's kind of pointing to right now. You've heard that for a long time, but What do you see when you look at your fellow peers who've been up there with you for quite a while, having the same problems?
Oh, there are a lot of great competitors. I mean, Russell's a great competitor. Aaron's a great competitor. I mean, to reference those two, I mean, I don't think it matters what your age is. I think it matters how you're playing and how you're competing.
Right.
And, some years, you don't have your best year as an individual, as a team. Some days you do. And like I said, I had one of my great years in '07. We didn't win the Super Bowl. I had a year in 2018 that probably wasn't my best year, but we did. So, and again, the purpose of playing is to win the Super Bowl. That's why we're playing. And no one knows what that looks like until that game's played. In the meantime, you got to work hard to try to correct the problems. And like I said, everybody's got problems. Maybe there's a few teams that think, man, we're great and we're just perfect status quo. And there's other ones that, you got to put the pedal to the metal. And some teams, there's not a lot of margin of error for what we're doing right now. So does that mean we can't win games? Absolutely not. It means you can. You just got to do a better job. Got to cut down on mistakes. You got to make more plays and a lot of things that, are narratives that we can continue to talk about, endlessly when you lose. And when you win, some of them get swept under the rug, not all the time.
Yeah.
But, when you lose, they're very evident for everyone to see. And I think
That's-
the important part, like I said, is everyone's got to own that. And everyone has owned it here. There's no one pointing fingers.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get it right. It doesn't show up all the time every week. But when
Nah.
it does show up, we're going to be proud of it. And I've always said it's hard to win a game in the NFL. It is hard. And some years it's harder than others. And we're going to fight as hard as we can to get it right. So again, it's not hope and it's not belief. It's what are you hopeful and believe in? I believe in the process to make it better.
If there's one thing that we've learned from Brady these years, at least I have, that is what he's all about, the process to make it better. And you heard Jim Gray reference Thanksgiving, and Brady has kind of said that, you're playing pre-Thanksgiving to get your team right. You obviously have to win along the way, but you're looking at your team, what you do well, what you don't do well. You coach around the things you don't do well. You emphasize the things you do well, and then you go out and you develop game plans. You try to outcoach the other team. This is in your strengths. That's good coaching. That's the development. That's getting better. That's the process. And right now, the problem with the process is during that process, you have to make hard choices and bold choices when things aren't going well. And that's leadership. And I don't think that this organization is willing, or at least they've shown that they're not willing to do that. It just seems through 6 games, everything is status quo. Let's keep running Leonard Fournette. Let's keep trying to force the ball to Godwin. Let's keep trying to run the ball on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep putting Devin White out there. Let's keep putting this guy. Same mistakes over and over and over again. You're not going to get a different outcome unless you make some bold choices or do some different things.
It is quite literally insanity. It is.
That's the definition of insanity.
And to break it down for
I
you,
hate that cliche saying, but yeah, that's why I
it
avoid
is.
it. But it is.
It is.
Yeah.
And you look at where they are right now. Where's the improvement from a week-to-week basis? All I see
in
is
the
a
last
team.
5 weeks, none.
We
keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, all I see is a team that scored 31 against Kansas City, and then you followed it up with 20, and that has an asterisk on it.
Of course.
And then you scored 21.
3 scores behind the whole game. That 31 means nothing.
Yeah, 21 against Atlanta though, 18 against Pittsburgh, and now 3 against Carolina.
You're 22nd in the league.
Where are you
scored.
going? You're averaging 17 points a game.
It's awful.
And it's like when you put it down like that, I think they're worse than 22nd, actually, after this last week. I think they're worse. But the point is, you're averaging 17 a game. And as we've been saying, regardless of what issues you're having,
25th, you're right. Tied for 25th.
you should be able to spit out 20 points on a weekly basis. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult with the parts that you have.
The Panthers scored 21 with
21.
PJ Walker and no Christian McCaffrey and no Robbie Anderson. They scored 21 points on our defense and ran for 173 yards. The Panthers.
Yeah.
That's how dysfunctional you are right now. And this is not something where you got to work harder. I'm sorry. You think that you can keep pounding the same rock and it's going to change? No. And unless they're willing to make bold choices, which Todd Bowles in yesterday's press conference was asked specifically about Luke Goedeke and specifically about running back 1, Leonard Fournette, and said, nope, no changes.
And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? At that point, what can you do? As somebody, as a fan of this team,
you go 4-13 is what you can do.
As a fan of this team, as somebody who sits down and analyzes the team, what are you going to do? Because again, what these guys don't seem to understand, and I'll say it again, everybody has access to the tape.
Right.
We see it. You're not hiding. You can't lie to me whenever you go up on these press conferences. We
Nope.
see it. I don't understand. Other than Luke Goedeke is a second-round pick, and we don't want to admit that we whiffed. Other than that reason, which maybe that's all it is, you can't convince me another way that he should still be playing.
You can't convince me he's better than Nick Leverett.
No, and if you want to hitch your ride to Leonard Fournette, oh, whatever. I'm not going to die on that hill necessarily. I just want him to be used in better situations. But in the coaching thing, I know you're not going to get up there and tell me that you're analyzing coaching changes. I know you're not going to do that, but I have to think it has to be in your head at some point, especially after this Ravens game if we get a similar outcome.
I put my max bet on the Ravens last night before the line goes to 7. It's 1.5 right now. It started the Bucs favored by 3.5. That must have been before the season. It's now at 1.5. The Ravens favored, and it's probably going to go to at least 3.5, maybe more than that. Because there isn't. How many yards is he going to run for?
And
Lamar Jackson's going to run for 200
with
yards
3 days to
for
prepare. I mean, what do the Ravens have to do to prepare for the Bucs? They can line up and know what's coming.
Yes. And and Antoine Winfield's not going to play. Your
Carlton
best defensive
Davis
player?
probably isn't going to play.
I think he's going to play. I think he's got a
You
good chance. I
know,
think that's
we'll
why
see.
they held him out, because they thought they could beat the Panthers without him. I think without your best player, and that guy's the one who would be controlling Lamar Jackson the most.
Yeah.
Now you got Mike Edwards and Keanu O'Neal back there.
And who the hell's on Mark Andrews?
Who
the hell's on him?
Who had 0 catches last week?
Yeah, and they're not.
Ooh.
I mean, the Ravens have a few game breakers, I guess, in Bateman and Duvernay.
They do.
But they're very young, right? I don't. But who's going to cover Mark Andrews? I guess
You
is where
lost
I'm getting at
21-3 to the worst team in the league in the Panthers.
Yeah.
Here comes a Ravens team that is going to be on Thursday night. And this is the thing about having Brady. It's payback time for everybody.
And they haven't
For
played
everybody.
up. And they haven't played
he's
up.
wounded and he's down.
Yeah.
You don't think they want to step on his neck?
And they haven't played up
The
to their
piece of the goat?
expectations either, by the way.
No, they haven't.
They haven't come close.
They're going to be on national television. It's Thursday night football. The teams are usually bad on a short week, and here comes the Buccaneers, and they're going to be worse. They scored 3 points, and they had the whole week to prepare for the Panthers. They got 3 days to prepare for the Ravens defense, which is not great. That's not the Ray Lewis defense, but still
the Ravens.
Do they score 7? Do they get a touchdown? I don't know.
At some point, they have to play up to their competition a little bit.
I keep waiting for that.
I'm waiting for it to happen.
Waiting for that.
They did in the first. I mean,
that team that played in Dallas is long gone.
Gone. I
and
mean,
the team that played
New Orleans
the Saints
is not a good team.
You know why? Because people got tape. They started to get tape, and they're like, "Oh," and while the league is adjusting, we are not.
I guess you could look at it. The New Orleans is not a good football team. Green Bay's not a good football team right now.
Nope.
Kansas City is the juggernaut of the league, and they absolutely just whipped you in the first half.
Boat raced you. Yeah.
So, I guess if you look at it like that, what are the Bucs? I don't know.
They're bad.
I don't know.
They're lucky to be 3-4 is what they are. Yeah. But I still think they can turn it
First
around.
in the division.
I still think they can turn it around.
Division.
They can do it, but they have to make bold choices. And at this point, why would you not? This is 5 games in a row that you've been awful. You were handed a victory, thank God, of roughing the passer and a holding call in the last drive, or the Falcons get the ball back and just hand it off down the field and win the game. You're lucky. You wouldn't be in fair. Everybody's, you're in first place. You're salvageable. You're lucky to be in first place. Thanks to Jerome Boger. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. This is real, folks. I'm not trying to be a Bucs fan, but this is real. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, TJ Rives is going to join us, Bucs sideline guy. We'll get his perspective from the sideline and talk about what can change and be positive here. We have a lot of negative. Let's be positive. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo and his team over there. Testosterone replacement therapy, guys. You need it. Go get your blood work done and get with a professional that knows how to administer that and do it the right way, not like some of these clinics. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo. Tell him JP sent you. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, Using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you want to go to the Florida-Georgia game, you want some free tickets, well, send us a video, a creative video of you telling us why the Gators are better than the Bulldogs. You can go animal, you can go students, you can go university, you can do whatever you want. Fans, football team, just be creative, be funny, and we'll pick two winners at the end of the week, courtesy of the Jeeves Law Group. Big Gator fans there. They bring you our Gator report each and every Thursday. So you Gator fans want to go to the big game, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party? Well, there you go. Just send us your video at FanStream Sports. You can do it at FanStream JP. Send us on our social media, and we'll pick out the best videos to win the tickets. And there you go. All right, let's welcome in our good friend. It's a TJ Tuesday, and there he is, the great TJ joining us here. You do any college football this weekend, partner?
Nothing this weekend, senor. I was at Alabama, Mississippi State, and rumors of the demise of Nick Saban and his defense and the Tide greatly exaggerated. They look good. They bounced back. Now they get a week off. Now they play LSU. So it will be very interesting to see if they can run the table and get back maybe in a rematch with Tennessee. Tennessee, Georgia, 2 weeks. You mentioned Georgia, Florida in doing the promo there this week. Yeah. Tennessee, Georgia the week after that.
Ooh.
So could be a
look ahead for Georgia.
Very interesting. Yes. Tennessee has Kentucky this week, and maybe that's a look ahead for Tennessee as well. We'll see. Alabama still very much in the picture, though, to try to win the SEC championship and get in the playoff. If they win out, they obviously will be in the championship game, but LSU may have something to say about that. But, I mean, Bama looked good the other night. So there you go. But I don't think you brought me on to talk college football in Alabama, did you?
Well, we talked a lot about the Bucs, so it's a nice little refreshing moment to talk some college football, actually. So many people say this is not the Alabama team of old. Their defense isn't as good. They don't have the wide receivers. Their offensive line's not as good. What do you see?
So all of those points are valid on the secondary. They've lost some guys to the NFL the last couple of years. The secondary hasn't been as good. And Tennessee torched them. Yeah. Mississippi State could not take advantage of that. They made a couple of adjustments. They put in a new cover corner, a young cover corner named Eli Ricks that helped them. But they've got one of the best defensive pass rushing players in the country, Will Anderson, who's probably going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He was a monster again on Saturday night, disrupting stuff. He will be critical for them against LSU, against Ole Miss, or in a championship game. And Bryce Young is still the Heisman winner, but you're right. I mean, when you lose guys like Devontae Smith,
Mhm.
Now with the Eagles, Jalen Waddle to the Dolphins.
Yep.
You look at John Mechie and Jamison Williams from last year's team that both suffered injuries at the end of the year, so they haven't done much in the NFL yet. You take all those guys off the teams from the last 2 years, of course you've got to reload.
Yep.
They've got a couple of guys, but they don't have those guys yet. So Alabama trying to get better, trying to figure it out, but they are still dangerous.
So
obviously dangerous.
So what you're saying is Nick Saban took an underperforming upperclassman, and replaced him with a younger, more talented player, probably a little faster. Tough choice, hard to do, right? Bold choice. It hurt some feelings, but sometimes it's got to be done. And I think that's just a nice little segue to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you did. And I think changes need to be made, my friend. We're 6 weeks in. We see what we see. You can't hide any of it. Everybody gets to watch the All 22 now, which is wonderful. Do you think that the Bucs will make some changes this week?
You already saw some of that start, and that was at left guard with Luke Goedeke and them alternating he and Nick Leverett. And I think that was kind of on the job evaluation of both and see who you're going to go with. He was adamant that Goedeke will be back in there to start the game at least on Thursday night, but that's one of the areas they're evaluating. They've been doing that in the secondary with different guys. They've had injuries that have dictated some of that in the secondary with different guys. We've talked about it at wide receiver with who's out there, who's able to play, who's a healthy and active. With Scotty Miller in his case, or Kyle Rudolph in his case at tight end that was a healthy and active earlier in the year. So you're having to evaluate a lot of these different positions. And he said to me, Todd Bowles, after the game on Buccaneers radio, everything is under evaluation. The coaching, the players, all of it. And the hard part for that is you got a short week. You only had like Sunday night all night and Monday to figure out what, if any, changes are we going to implement starting today, Tuesday, and a little bit with a walkthrough Wednesday, and then bam, there's a game on Thursday. But I think with the Goedeke situation, he's obviously bigger than Nick Leverett, but Leverett has more experience having been around for a couple of years. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world trying both of them, but eventually you got to settle on one of those guys. And maybe that's coming Thursday night. If Goedeke hypothetically doesn't play well at the beginning of the game, maybe they're going to settle on Nick Leverett for a while at left guard. We'll see.
I haven't seen a lot of teams in the NFL do that. Usually offensive line, you want continuity. I don't really see a lot of that. But hey, we'll see how it works for the Bucs. Let's have a little levity here, okay?
Please.
Let's take us behind the curtain a little bit, because I've done similar things in your job. I've been in these losing locker rooms, and there is a technique, there is an experience factor that, of course, you have that is fantastic. There's a lot of body language reading going on. So how do you choose who to go up to? Like, they just got their ass handed to them against the Panthers.
Yes.
It's one of the worst losses ever. At least the coach, he has to talk to you. But you got to go into the locker room, and you got to kind of pick it. I watch you. I see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide what's going through your head? Give us some stories. You got the great stories.
That's a very fair, fun question. So I'm happy to address that one. And so in the last couple of years, it hasn't been that often that you got to go into a bad locker room. And I may have jinxed this thing on FanStream JP, because you remember what I brought up about the 2008 game slide at the end with John Gruden and how horrible that locker room was, where Derek Brooks was glaring at me and Rondé Barber's going, nope, get away from me when I'm walking around before the media is all in there. And so I was in the same position Sunday, where I'm in there before the rest of the media. And I can tell you, this is not a nuclear secret. The looks in some ways were shock. The looks were disgust. There were a couple of people that threw a couple of things. I'm not going to name names. It looked that way. And I'm not going up to people in that moment. I mean, I'm just standing there going, there is no point right now in me walking over to somebody that's about ready to huck his shoulder pads across the locker room and try to ask him, hey, do you have 90 seconds for Buccaneers radio? So I waited a little bit, kind of read the room. It was interesting. And then obviously the media comes in, and the funniest thing is they all surround me and they wait to see who am I going to go to first. And I had worked something out with Mike Edwards. I said, hey, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to ask you a couple things. I said, I'm not going to put you in a tough spot. I said, now they may surround us and then they may start asking you things, but that's not going to be me. And he said, fine. So he did the interview with me. That just gives you an idea Of course, it's easy when they've won. Everybody can do the job when they've won. Everybody's in a good mood. Like we joked at the beginning of the season on your show, they've got that rap music, that hip hop song blaring while I'm in there with words that would get you kicked off of a lot of different television or radio stations that are in that song. So I'm in there with that in the good times. You really earn your money in my kind of role when it's bad, and you have to try to get something out of somebody in those instances. Here's another philosophy that I have. Levante David, for example, has been phenomenal with me for over a decade.
Right.
I try not to go to Levante after a loss anymore because, JP, I've done that so many times. It's just unfair to him after every loss over and over and over again to go to him.
Have your go-to guys, though, right?
Yes. And so I do have some go-tos. It's changed over the years. You know, you mentioned Brooks and Rondé, Allstott. Dave Moore was great in those locker rooms in the 90s, the 2000s to give you explanations. So now the names are different. They're like Levante or they're like Donovan Smith. Think about the guys that have been around. Mike Evans, if he will do it sometimes. He is very emotional, especially after losses. I know not to go near him 2 minutes after the locker room's open. It's better 7 or 8 minutes or 10 minutes after the locker room's open when he's calmed down, showered, or whatever, because he's a volatile, emotional player. So you got to be smart with that. But you're right. Levante, Cameron Brate is another one that I would constantly go to. You know, different. Ali Marpet was excellent and would always talk to you. Vita Vea is actually really good about talking to you too. I couldn't find him. Now, it's hard to miss him. I couldn't find him Sunday after the game. I think he had maybe gone for treatment.
They don't want to be.
Well, they go so that the fans understand further on this peak. On a road game, you have about literally 1 hour of clock time to get everybody, you know, showered, dressed, treated, and get on a bus and get to the airport because they're on a timeline. So in his case, I think he was getting treatment as well as a shower. He's trying to do that right away before he comes back out to talk because he was not there. He was not around. I can tell you this. There were some guys that were sitting there and staring straight ahead, staring down at their locker or whatever, but then eventually they snap out of it, go get in a shower. Here's the media. I may say something to you. And then you march on.
So it's not like because I remember going into some, you know, the losing locker rooms, the losing Bucs locker rooms, and it used to piss me off that guys would be in there laughing and joking around. And you know, and it just was. I said, God, this is such a loser mentality.
Well,
and I know, you know, after years and years, you just can't be depressed after every game. I get it. You know, I can only imagine what Gerald McCoy had to feel like after, you know, he had to do all the interviews and, you know, it's just awful. But, you know, I hated that. And when they lose, this is a sign of a good team. When they lose a game like that they're pissed off and it's a somber locker room. There's no music. It's just everybody's pissed off. People are throwing stuff. That's good. I want to hear that. I want people to.
So let me give you another quick story because he's no longer on the team, but this kind of fits. So if you remember 2019 season, or was it the 2018 season? I can't remember which, where the Bucs played in Buffalo and had the lead and Buffalo came from behind and won the game. So that would have been because last year we played them 2017 season. So this is Dirk Cutter.
Yeah.
This is the first year that Jason Pierre-Paul had come to the team. They had blown a couple of leads, a couple of games before this. All right, so they blow this lead. And I get in there immediately. And I'm not going to anybody immediately. I'm going to try to maybe get to somebody. And Jason Pierre-Paul erupts right near me because I think he heard somebody laughing or saying something. He went crazy. We're off the air. He went crazy. And I said to my radio boss, who you know, Jeff Ryan, I said, hey, you can't come to me just yet. And I'll tell you why later. And I backed out of it because he was yelling in general about this has got to stop. Enough of this. He turned something over. He's screaming at somebody. That's what you're talking about.
Yes. That's what we needed.
Or the opposite is kind of like the famous Brad Pitt scene in Moneyball where he comes in and they're celebrating after a loss and the actor playing Jeremy Giambi is up on the table dancing to the music and he says, what are you doing? Cut that off. Get down from there. He goes, is losing fun? And they just kind of look at him and he goes, is it fun to lose? And finally one of them said no. He says, then why are you having fun? He goes, you want to know what losing sounds like? In the movie, you can see this clip. Go on YouTube and see it. That's what losing sounds like. Yeah. And then he leaves. And so that's a very good, poignant example of That's what losing should sound like. And I'm just verifying they took it tough Sunday, as you can imagine, and it was quiet.
And we've talked a lot about leadership on this team. And I was just watching in the break, Baldy's breakdown 2 weeks in a row. He's just obliterated the Bucs defense for just lack of discipline. And they're just not playing well. They're not playing hard. They're not playing with heart, not like we've seen in the past. And that's bothersome. And I say, why not? Well, no JPP. And you know why? He played with one arm last year, and with no Ndamukong Suh, okay, we're fine. We know why. He wasn't as athletic. But, man, we missed that leadership, bro. We missed that leadership. Who's stepping up in that void? Levante, we love him to death, but he's a quiet guy. He's a quiet leader.
Right.
Vita Vea.
He will say things in his defense. He will say things at times privately and scream at guys privately, not so much demonstratively out on the field or on a sideline. But you're right. And one other critical part of this, you have Ndamukong Suh for the last 4 years, basically, going back to 2019, the last 3 years prior to this year. He's not there any longer, as you mentioned. You bring in Akeem Hicks, who's huge and a run stopper, and you had him for the first game in Dallas, and you had him for the first quarter in New Orleans, and now you haven't had him. And they've had a tough time with Nacho, with William Golston, or with Logan Hall next to Vita Vea being able to get the same push up front. And it also is affecting Devin White and Levante David because blockers are getting past them and getting to the second level and getting bodies also on White and on David that they haven't been getting on them the last 3 seasons. So that's another thing. If you can get Hicks healthy or get better play next to Vita, because Vita's getting double teamed and moved a lot of the time. Sometimes he makes a play, but that's another little subtle thing on the defense that needs to be better.
TJ Rives joining us here. Do you want to jump in there, Nick?
What else you got for me? Besides silence, this is how losing locker rooms should be. What else you got, brother?
I mean, my creamsicle hat, I left it in the car because I was feeling this looks like the Bucs creamsicle, so I almost wore it in honor of this team.
Wow.
But I put the kibosh on that before I walked in here today. But
I will say to you before you ask a question, the hope that you would have is this is a very talented team, and I said this on the Buccaneers podcast. I'm saying it here on FanStream JP. This team's got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. The creamsicles that you're talking about in the 80s and the 90s, they didn't have players. And you didn't have hope. You just did not have hope week in and week out that you got maybe 4 or 5 guys out of the 22 that are good enough to play on other teams and what you needed. This team's got 15 guys out of the 22 that are good enough to play for any team. So it's not a talent thing. Fire away, my friend. Go ahead.
That's the frustrating part. They're averaging 17 offensively, and I just feel like you should be able to spit out 20 points somehow, accidentally, some way. I mean, get a takeaway. They haven't gotten a takeaway in 3 games, right? They're just getting straight up beat. And, a lot of people are talking about coaches right now, BA not being there. I never was one of those guys about, the team takes on the identity of the head coach and, Bowles is a lot more laid back and stuff. But what are you seeing there? Do you think there has been a change in the way the team is kind of responding to Todd Bowles than they were for Bruce Arians?
So there's automatically going to be a difference in personality on that. And again, we're not privy to what's going on behind the scenes. I will give you this insight. At halftime on Sunday, I do the live halftime interview on Buccaneers radio. Now, sometimes, a lot of the time, I get that going into the locker room where he's walking off the field, going into the locker room. We talk to him. So Sunday, Fox and Shannon Spake wanted to talk to him going into the locker room. So I get him coming out. Typically, he would come out, and NFL halftime is right at 12 minutes. They put 12 minutes on the clock. Typically, he's out at about the 4-minute mark, 3.5 minutes, something like that. He was back out of the locker room at the 7-minute mark, which means by the time he walked in there, he wasn't in there more than 3 or 4 minutes. So I took that, having done this long enough, to mean he peeled some paint off the walls in there about the first half where it's 7-0 at the half because of how quickly he was back out. He got his point across, and that was it. Obviously, he's a defensive-minded coach. He was fine with winning the first couple of games where you're not scoring more than 1 touchdown, you're kicking field goals and playing defense. What you said, JP, earlier that I think is very telling and is truthful and is something to keep an eye on moving forward. Once you've played 3 or 4 games, everybody now has a blueprint of what you look like.
Yep.
And if you are beginning to struggle and you don't adjust to adjustments,
right.
If you don't build on that, people have figured out what you were doing in September by now. They've watched it. They watched what Kansas City did. They watched what Atlanta did for a lot of that game on defense and how Atlanta ran the ball Pittsburgh watched it, Carolina watched it, and Baltimore's watched it. You've got to adjust to the adjustments. So that's another part of this. And that's on Todd Bowles and his staff to adjust to the adjustments in game, even while things are going on.
Absolutely. That's a huge part of coaching right there. And so as we look at a short week against the Ravens, here comes the maybe the most talented runner in the game, and he's also a quarterback that can throw the football. And this defense is just giving up humongous chunks, and so much of it is just lack of discipline, not doing your job. You got essentially an option quarterback can have the option to run on every play. If you don't do your job, they will embarrass you. And Lamar can embarrass you. So so
now that's being talked about, to your point. Oh, yeah. And so now you wonder, do they put Levante David or Devin White as kind of the pseudo spy there in the middle to say, don't let him be the guy that gets out the gate? And White can obviously run, not maybe completely with Lamar, but he can run sideline to sideline to track people down like Lamar. Maybe it is going to be some of Devin White as a spy. We used to see that with Derek Brooks. You know this, right? JP and Nick, you know this. You would use Brooks as a spy on Michael Vick when you play the Atlanta Falcons. You're not going to get out of the pocket, get out of the line of scrimmage and go make a 40-yard run on us or a 50-yard run on us, because 55 is going to tackle you at the line or 3 yards beyond the line. So that may have to be some of it on Thursday night. And let's hope that you almost shoulda, coulda, woulda. You almost had the ideal start. The bomb to Mike Evans that would have made the game 7-0, and now you're on defense, turned up against a bad team. That would have been an ideal start.
Yep.
If you can get, not that you have to have a bomb, if you can get off to a big start with a touchdown early or something big happening early and get the crowd in the game, this thing can turn around. I'm not just being the homer sellout slanted guy. I've just seen it so many times before where you could turn around psychologically, feed off the home crowd, and do some things well early. That I don't want to say that's an absolute, but it's pretty close to an absolute. They absolutely have to have an important good thing or two happen in the first quarter of this game. Otherwise, the mentality is going to be, here we go again, and then look out.
Momentum's a huge part of this game, man. It's a huge part of this game. Confidence and momentum, and the Bucs need to get it early on.
Let me give you more insight, a quick body language thing, and I said this on the podcast. So about 15 minutes before the game, the Buccaneers always do this. Well, really about 25 minutes before the game. When the Bucs go in the locker room for the last time before they come out for the pregame introductions and the quick warm-up before the kickoff, they always rally around at midfield, and it's usually Devin White and sometimes other guys. Levante will speak, Mike Evans will speak, whatever, in the middle of whoever chooses to stand there, get fired up in the middle of the field. So they're there doing that. And the Carolina Panthers went to their locker room while that was going on, and you're the body language guy. Their body language said, we are in disarray. We fired the coach. We've traded Christian McCaffrey. They shoulders slumped, walked to the locker room. And I filed that away and went, okay, this team is ripe because they're not fired up to be here and to be playing the Buccaneers. They're ripe. And so if you had gotten the long touchdown to Evans, I think their psychology goes out because they were looking to lay down and lose. They've got an interim coach. Instead, the opposite happens. He doesn't catch it. They gain some confidence. They eventually get a touchdown. So you're right. Momentum, psychology plays a big thing. That's just what I observed Sunday about 25 minutes before the game.
But how does a team, though, still? Because Mike Evans then, after the game, is like, I felt the life go out of us, right? And he said, it took me personally a while to get back in the game. And that comment to me is the most concerning thing I think I heard all week because, Mike Evans has been around when it's been dark. It has been very dark, and he's always been able to still go out there and play his game. But this team in general, I don't want to keep going back to the Super Bowl. But again, we thought this team had learned how to win and how to deal with adversity, and they didn't deal with it from the moment the game started. I mean, how do you kind of just describe?
You have to. Then maybe that's what they're talking about yesterday and today on when there's adversity, we've got to be stronger, tougher mentally, and be ready to go. And in fairness, what JP's bringing up about Sue's not there, Pierre Paul's not there, Ryan Jensen on that offensive line to fire people up. Brady is still there. Who's Bruce Arians going to go over and get in somebody's face or pat him on the back if they need a pat on the back? That's part of it. Now that's in Todd Bowles' camp. That's in Byron Leftwich's camp for Mike Evans on offense. I will tell you that I was behind the bench. I was behind the bench a couple of times with him kind of with his head down. And Leftwich did come over to him once. And there was another coach that came over to him. And I'm trying to remember, I think Rashad Perriman came over to him. So there were some attempts on, let's go. Get that out of your head. We can't do anything about that. Yeah. But you're right. They're questioning everything right now.
All this is fixable. That's the thing. All of it is fixable. Like you said, they have the talent. The coaches can fix this thing. They've just got to make some bold choices, and we'll see if they do. Because there's a lot of season left. There's a lot of season left. The NFC stinks. You just got to be playing
the
right.
The division stinks. The division stinks too.
Yes. Yeah, you just got to be playing the right way in Thanksgiving. And Keem Hicks comes back. That's a big deal. Ryan Jensen comes back. That's a huge deal. You can move Hainsey to guard. There's hope here. There's a lot of hope here, but you got to start doing it. They need some leadership, all the things we've talked about today. All right, partner, great stuff as always. Great. Thank you for your time. What's going on with you? Tell us about your content, where they can find it.
Always love being with you. You can find the Nothing But Bucks podcast on the Buccaneers mobile app, Buccaneers.com, wherever you get podcasts. It's a recap podcast. We will have one Friday, win, lose, or draw. It won't be a draw. Oh, God, help us if it's an overtime draw. Win or lose Thursday night, we'll have a Nothing But Bucks recap podcast on Friday that'll be out probably midday with all the highlights, the interviews, etc. Catch me there. And other than that, let's just see what happens on Thursday. I mean, national TV, crowd should be rocking. Do some positive things at the beginning of the game and open some things up, get some momentum. And then you've got a chance to get to 4-4 and have 10 days to regroup before you play the Rams in a large one. So take care of business. Just get back to 4-4, and we go from there.
Any way you can. All right. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Haley Hunter's going to join us. We'll talk some golf, and there's a lot of great topics out there in this upcoming season. Rory is the number one again. Live Golf, obviously, hanging out over there. We'll talk with Haley Hunter when we come back. Stay with us.
Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating, or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury? Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group. Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We're giving away 4 tickets to the Florida-Georgia game this weekend. Just get your creative video in to our social media. Posted it at FanStreamJP or at the JP Peterson Show. Tell me why Gators are better than Bulldogs, you Gator fans. Has to be a Gator fan. We're not giving Bulldog fans tickets because Scott is a big Gator fan. So you better be a Gator fan, and let's hear it. Have some fun with it, and we'll pick the winners on Friday. All right, let's talk some golf with our good friend Haley Hunter from the Golf Channel and PGA Tour Productions. Also does some golf wagering shows as well. She knows her stuff, and she joined us now. What's up, Haley? How are you?
Hey, JP. Good to see you. Doing well. How's the golf game?
Not bad. Fired a little 77 at Palmacia the other day. Best I've ever hit the ball in my life. I have John Gerber, my good friend PGA Pro John Gerber, to thank. He's tweaking my swing a little bit. So, you know what's interesting about this crazy game of golf? That's the easiest I've ever swung at the golf ball. I was just like, I said, I'm going to swing like 80% today. I'm not going to try to kill it. I'm just going to concentrate on tempo and just hit it. And boy, I hit the ball farther, straighter, better contact. Crazy game.
It's funny how it works, right? The less you think about things, the better you usually do. So that's why a beer or two sometimes helps.
Unfortunately, 1 leads to 12. So that's, it's kind of a diminishing returns there at the end.
There you go.
Yeah, you know how that works. So first of all, let's say you're brought to us by Proud90.com, which is a golf apparel company here locally. I checked out their website. They got some really cool polos.
Oh, yeah.
I love their stuff.
These guys are awesome. I actually met the founder, Rick, and also their marketing manager, Matt, over at the PGA show in Vegas a couple months ago. And they're all about, their name is Proud 90, right? So they're all about just embracing the fact that you don't have to be the next Tiger Woods. They're just going out there, having a good time. Even if you're a hacker shooting in the 90s Proud 90 or the hundreds on the weekend, they're just out there having a good time. Like I said, cracking open a couple of beers and enjoying it. And you can see that in their designs. They have really kind of unconventional, loud designs. And they're a group of cool guys. So yeah, great company.
Love their stuff. Proud90.com. Check it out. All right, let's get into we'll get into some juicier topics in a little bit, but I like to do some wagering as well. Boy, the football game hurt me last night. But let's talk about golf. This week they're in Bermuda, which you should be there covering this week. The Butterfield Bermuda Classic there, and I saw that John Daly got a sponsor's exemption. I know this isn't one of the star-studded fields, but when John Daly's playing, I'm watching just to see what he's wearing. So there you go. I
think John Daly would actually rock the Proud 90 apparel.
Oh, he would?
Colors, yeah.
He totally would. Who you got this week? Kind of a limited field, but this is a good chance to make some money, I would think.
Yeah, so the favorite this week is Denny McCarthy. He's at plus 1,600. He's the best ball striker probably in this field, but I don't think he's ready for his first PGA Tour win yet. When he was playing his best golf, he had 5 top 10 finishes within just a month this past July. But right now, he can't break the top 25. He's not playing his best golf. So I'm actually surprised to see him as the favorite in the sportsbook this week. I think it's a little bit of a stretch. So instead, I'm going with a couple of guys. The first guy is Steven Jaeger. Plus 3,300 right now. He can make you a little bit more money. The reason being is this golf course this week over in Bermuda is playing just 6,828 yards. So a little bit further than what you play by just a little bit at Palmacia, JP. It's one of the shortest courses on the PGA Tour. However, the greens are really small. So the toughest thing is going to be how players can make up and down and manage their game around the greens. Jaeger, he's currently ranked 11th in strokes gained around the green on tour. He was 10th for that statistic overall last season on the PGA Tour. So with the distance being so short off the tee this week, I really think he's a guy you can be confident in and just making sure he manages the greens really well. He had a couple of top 10 back-to-back finishes in August as well, top 20 here last year in this tournament. So he's playing really well, really confident in him. One more guy to keep an eye on, though, is Callum Tarrant. You may know him from being tied for second with Rory after round 1 of the U.S. Open this year. He's an up-and-comer as well. Plus 5,000. So a little bit of cash to be made off of this guy, currently ranked 14th in approaching the green from 100 to 125 yards out. So on a course where you don't have to always take driver off the tee, right? This guy's going to put him where he feels most confident. Very easy to take a hybrid or a 3-wood off the tee, put himself in that 100-yard range, and keep dialing his approach shots in. How he's been a 13th place finish at the Sanderson Farms a few weeks ago. So Tarrant and Jaeger both playing really well right now. I got those guys to win outright.
All right, let's get into some other topics, and obviously the Live Golf Tour is the hugest topic out there. I mean, you grew up playing golf. You played at Ohio. You've been involved with LPGA Tour, so you've been involved with the tours, the PGA Tour. I mean, obviously this is an existential threat to the PGA Tour. I mean, I'm not a big Live Golf fan myself personally. I think it's a money grab. It's an exhibition. I'm not a fan of it at all. But I hate what it's doing to the PGA Tour. What's your take on it?
Well, look, I'll give you a positive take on it. I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of the Live Golf Tour either. Seeing where things are going, trying to be open-minded. But I do like that the PGA Tour players now have a salary annually now of $500,000 if they play in at least 15 events. I think that's fair because you look at any other sport, they all have salaries, right? And then they make money on top of that through sponsorships and so on. So I think not making the guys have to compete every week to make the cut, to make even $1, in their bank account is important. And I like what it's done there. But however, just like you said, politically and just working with Saudi Arabia, I don't agree with that side of things. So I wish that could be different from that aspect.
You speak to a lot of the players on tour. Do you sense, and you talk to Rory, and we'll get to that in a sense, do you sense that this has destroyed a lot of relationships? Because and that's the worst part about it to me.
Yeah, unfortunately it has. When I covered the Canadian Open, that was the big topic. That was pretty much right when everything hit. And I was asking a lot of the players about it, and they're just telling me, they feel like it's taking away from the genuineness of the game of golf. And look, I understand, you worked you're so hard in your life to get good at this sport and you want to make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, that's not the only reason athletes play sports. They started playing sports for the love of the game. And when you take kind of that love out and throw big money like Live Golf is at them, and who knows where that money is coming from, it takes away that part of the game. I
agree. Haley Hunter joining us here from the Golf Channel PGA Tour. But I do agree with you that it made the PGA Tour make some necessary changes. You mentioned the $500,000 salary. That's great. They've also added a lot more money in purse. Suddenly the PGA Tour found, hundreds of millions of dollars that they can play with players. So it has forced the PGA Tour to step up. And I think that is a good residue of it. So talk a little bit about the changes we'll see on the tour this year. A lot of these events are going to be paying a lot more money.
Yeah, a lot more money. And that's the thing that keeps the players there. Hopefully they can keep upping those purses a little bit so we don't have to, play this battle back and forth between the Live Golf Tour. I will say, though, that I think that you're going to see more players continue to go over to Live Golf until they decide to work together. I hope that the PGA Tour can somehow work together. I don't know what that's going to look like, but this is happening, I will add, with the LPGA Tour as well, because there's talks about some other tours coming with Live Golf being the main kind of founder as well. And you've got players. I've been covering the Epson Tour, who's the mini tour of the LPGA, a lot this season. And, they're lucky to make $10,000 if they win a tournament. So it's tempting, right, for these players if they aren't in the top 100 on the LPGA. So, we're going to see a lot of that.
So do you think there's going to be a rival tour to the LPGA as well with more money?
I think it potentially could happen. I know the LPGA commissioner accepted a phone call to discuss it a few months back, but that was just to hear them out. I don't know much more as of now, but I would not be surprised if they went that direction.
I got to tell you, I think the LPGA Tour, for whatever reason, has not marketed their players. I love watching women's golf, but I have a hard time finding it. I don't think it's marketed very well. I'd like to see more on social media. I know networks, have their issues here and there. It's expensive to market on networks, but I think the LPGA golf is ripe for social media. I mean, you've been involved with it there. I get these feeds all the time of women golfers, right? This is a big thing. People are interested in women golfers, and except that I don't see anything on my phone from the LPGA.
Yeah, the hardest thing about it is you have more players on the LPGA who aren't from the U.S. or who don't speak English. So it's really hard to market and to engage the audience and the fans with some of those players when there's a language barrier, right? And these girls are amazing. They're hilarious. Like, I love all these girls who have some broken English, but that makes things harder. So because the LPGA is such a global tour and they take pride on that, we got to figure out that language barrier.
Yeah, and I think they just need to be marketed better, and that's something that these competing tours will do. They got to be more creative. So tell me a little bit about your conversation with Rory. I thought he had an amazing year, obviously, and could have been off the charts. He was right there in every single major. But the great thing I love about Rory is you've seen him mature, right? We've seen him literally grow up before our eyes, and come from this kind of a lovable young man to then a cocky guy that you probably didn't like, and now he's just become much more thoughtful about everything, a much deeper person. I just love the dude that he's become, and his golf game is thriving as well. Tell me what you learned from him.
Well, it's a really cool experience for me to interview him for the first time in the Canadian Open. We spoke every day because of how well he was playing, of course, but he was always my favorite player growing up. Always loved Rory. I think he's a great ambassador for the PGA Tour. He's kind of holding everything together right now, as you've seen. But so happy for him because, he was, number one in the world. And then he kind of just struggled to put tournaments together, couldn't get a major win for a few years there. And he basically told me, like, it literally comes down to believing in yourself and putting 4 rounds of golf together, because you start to get in your head and you have, a 66, a 65, 65, and then you shoot a 72. Well, you can't do that. And you're not going to win a tournament that way. So he's like, I know it sounds simple, but look, I just have to put 4 rounds together. And then he shot tied for the best run of his career on Sunday. And that's what did it. So happy for Rory, and really happy to see him represent the PGA Tour well.
So you talked to him after the Open, and I watched that back nine. Well, I watched the whole final day, and Rory, he didn't miss a shot. He literally did not miss a shot, and maybe played a little conservatively. If I had any criticism whatsoever, I mean, I think Cam Smith took it from him. But it's any thoughts of like, man, I couldn't play any better, and I still didn't. It still didn't bounce my way. Did he talk a little bit about that? How that has affected him in any way, positively or negatively?
Yeah, he basically just said that, when he's dialing it in and he's hitting his approach shots the way he was hitting it there, like, that just gives him so much confidence. And so really just talking about how invaluable that confidence is for him. And, like I said, you just have to believe in yourself on that final day, and that's what's going to do it. By the way, I do like to see how Rory's kind of opening up to the crowds a little bit more. He's always kind of been the one at the Phoenix Open that doesn't like all the cheering. At the Canadian Open, I don't know if you saw the crowds just bombarding the green. He was kind of smiling, like he liked it, So it's good to see Rory loosen up a little bit.
We need that in golf, right? Because a lot of these guys a lot of them have great personalities that we never really get to see,
That's right, especially with the LPGA, like we said. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's work on the marketing there. That's good stuff. All right, Haley, brought to you by proud90.com. Check them out. Go to their website. They've got some great apparel there, golf polos, spice it up a little. I'm wearing my electric blue Ritz-Carlton members club where I played last week. So
No, we got to get some Proud 90, JP. I'll work on it.
I got to get some. I got to get some of those really poppy color ones. And
Yes,
so
you got to get the flower shirt. That one's trendy.
let me send them over. We'll Nick and I will wear them every day.
All right, there we go. Look at that.
We're here for it. Absolutely. And then you go on the website and check it out. All right, Haley, tell everybody where they can find your content. I know you have a gazillion thousand followers on Instagram, but get some more.
Yeah, I mostly post everything I do in life every day on Instagram. It's _Haley Hunter. You can also check out my website. It's haleyhunter.com.
All right, and we will retweet that as well. All right, thanks, Haley. Appreciate it. We'll put some money down on those cats, and we'll see if we make some money. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Good luck. Bye.
Appreciate it. Haley Hunter there of the Golf Channel. I'm really excited to see this golf season happen, and we're gonna have obviously we'll have a Ryder Cup at the end of it this year after the President's Cup was a demolition by the U.S. team, but it's gonna be an interesting season. I think I saw where the new elevated tournaments, the Valspar was not included, but it's going to rotate. So some years they will be included in the elevated purse.
Yeah, a lot of change going on. A lot of change, obviously, like you guys touched on there. And Rory, I mean, he's turned into, like you said, the ambassador, I guess, of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, the face of the game.
If he can finally get a major victory. My
Another
goodness.
one. He's so close. I mean, he finished what? He was in the top 5 of 3 of the 4 majors this year, I think.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. He couldn't have played any better in that Open Championship.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't choke that away. That was Cam Smith taking it away.
Cam Smith's putting performance is just off the charts. I mean, he just made everything. But what a great tournament. And I'm looking forward to the Masters. And Fred Ridley, by the way, is going into the Florida State Hall of Fame, Florida Sports Hall of Fame next week, which I'll be emceeing that. So we're hoping to get a lot of the folks on that are going to be inducted. So hopefully we'll get Fred on to talk a lot about what's going on at the Masters, Augusta. Will these live golf players be able to play because they won't have world ranking points? I mean, there's a very set criteria to get an invite from the Masters. So it's very, very touchy situation. And of course, all the former guys, the Dustin Johnsons of it will always be welcome at the Masters, but if this continues and they don't get world ranking points, we're going to be missing a lot of the big names.
Yeah, and I still hate that. I mean, is there anything moving with this TV deal? I keep hearing all these reports about Fox Sports being involved in getting Live Golf on TV, and
even if it's on TV, though, I was talking with maybe it was Gary Koch the other day when we did the thing at Temple Terrace, and he says, he was watching some of it, and you realize that they do a shotgun, so you can have the leader on 16 against, the guy 1 stroke behind's on 4 and the other guy's, 2 strokes behind's on 8. It's just, that's weird.
Anticlimactic.
That's weird. They're not playing the same holes at the same time. Like at least, even if they're not in the same grouping, he's got 16 coming up. Oh, he's got 17. Oh, he just played 17. He got through that one. Or he's got a par 5 coming up. So everything, it's weird. It's weird to watch.
The style of what they do, the rules, it's not for me.
No, I hate it. I hate it. I have no interest in it.
I have no problem with there being the second golf tour or whatever. Like I know I'm in the minority with that, but I don't enjoy the product itself watching
54 holes, no cut.
You know me. I don't like gimmicks in my sports.
Yeah, that's as gimmicky as it gets. The team aspect of it.
No, I don't follow.
Yeah.
No.
And then, everybody gets paid. There's no drama, different holes. I just, and then everything surrounding it politically. I got no time for it. I won't watch it. I literally will not watch it. I have no interest in it whatsoever. You're just your name's on a page. No, not a fan.
Before we go here, any notes on the Lightning? We feel like we should mention them today because we do have a back-to-back here going out west right away.
Yep, we got
Los Angeles
LA tonight, and then Anaheim, and the Mighty Ducks in San Jose. Look, this weekend I thought was really, really big for the Lightning. I'd hope they'd get this 3 out of 4. And they're sitting there in the third period down 2-1 to Florida on Friday night. Playing better, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're like, wow, they're going to go to 1-4. And then they got the Islanders coming in. Could you be 1-5? You lose all these gettable points early on. You're chasing it for the rest of the year. It's no good. And then they, Pointer scores, and then he scores in overtime to beat Florida. They come back the next night. You get the Isles come out ready to go because they were embarrassed. They're out shooting the Lightning 9-3, and then boom, Hagel goes into the corner and scraps and gets that puck and over, and they get a goal. And when they probably have been outplayed, and then they build on that momentum and win 5-3, and boom, you pick up 4 points on the weekend. Yep. You're back to 500. Now you're getting this West Coast trip out. You do some bonding out there. I like where they're at. I really do. I love the way Perbix is playing. The big hit on Kachuk. That was a big weekend for the Lightning.
It was, man. Also, too, I mean, I was scrolling the other night on Instagram, and your Halloween costume, if it was meant to scare people, it got me. It got me on, what was it, Saturday night?
Got you, didn't I?
It got me.
Gomez Adams.
I didn't even know who that was. I'm like, who the hell is Gomez Adams?
Yeah,
even
Adams fan.
And even Casey's like, the Adams family. And I'm like, again, I'm showing I don't know the Adams family. I was very confused.
I actually like the dark mustache and the dark eyebrows and the dark hair.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
I'm thinking about
no, please,
doing the beard dark, color in the hair, the eyebrows, just going totally like switch it up.
Some just for men.
Yeah, just switch it up. Just you get older, you're like, put a little spice into it. Do something different. You're looking at me
start with some salt and pepper. Get some salt and pepper.
I've been doing salt and pepper.
No, you're looking at like a little salt right now.
Just all salt.
You're all salt.
I don't know. I might be a dramatic change. It could show up here on Monday and it'd just be a whole different me.
I don't want to see the Ron Jeremy. I don't want to see that.
Oh, the single mustache I had for a little, like about 24 hours was not popular. The porn stash was not popular.
It's never popular.
Like, we got to get rid of that. That's no. When you're my age with a mustache like that, it's just creepy old guy. That's all you get. Don't do that. So that's not an option. That is definitely not an option. But I could spice it up a little bit. I could do something a little different. I don't know. We'll see. Anything else we needed to get to today? Somebody wanted us to talk about the Rays. What's to talk about? We can talk about the World Series.
I don't have the energy, not today, not this week, probably to get deep into the stadium stuff like a lot of people have been talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't have the energy to get into it. The Bucks are taking it out of me.
I think we could. I haven't. We started a little late today, so we can go a little longer. I have not really talked about what happened this weekend, but there's movement.
Yes.
There's movement. So Daryl Shaw and Romano even wrote a column about it last week, and I don't think we even talked about it. So Daryl Shaw, and remember, Romano's getting fed from the Rays organization. So if he's writing something positive about it, that means that the Rays are interested about it. So, and I've said for a long, long time, we even talked about this, remember, about a month ago, when Daryl Shaw first bought this piece of land. It's really interesting piece of land. So if you're going on the Adamo Drive on Channel Side, or you're going on the Crosstown, you see those big silos downtown. There's a shipyard right there. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's kind of a weird property, but I was looking at it from an aerial standpoint, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. Because what you could do, if you kind of look at it, and I'll retweet it today. So on the side where the aquarium is, there's kind of a sliver of land there. It's right on the water that leads up, kind of leads up to, and then it kind of horseshoes around the shipyard. And then there's the silos on the other side where the stadium would be. So what I envisioned would be like, so you're coming from the aquarium and from Channel Side, from where Amelie is, right? You're walking up Channel Side. There's the port right there, right? The port building. And then you could build, like, let's just say a 5 or 6 story huge structure, kind of a gateway to Rays by the Bay. Let's call it Rays by the Bay. All right. So you build a big Rays by the Bay gateway and a big, 5, 6 story mall, all with these. Can you imagine like everything overlooking the water, a little marina down below? Yeah. Little marina down below where ships are coming in, the ferry is coming in, people are, water taxis are coming in, bringing fans, from downtown Tampa, you can get on a water taxi over by Armature Works and get to the Rays game, and get on a water taxi from Davis Island or downtown anywhere, come on over into the little marina. You got a 5 or 6 story, big iconic structure of restaurants and bars all overlooking the water. This sounds kind of cool, right? And then it kind of horseshoes over the little marina area, outdoor area with outdoor bars and restaurants, kind of like the Battery up there. So you have this big entertainment shopping district right there overlooking the water. Then you have some pedestrian bridges going over the water at like 5, 6 stories high, right? Going over the water to the stadium. You digging this? So there's the big state, and now the stadium's on the other side, big translucent roof, right? And you got, 2 or 3 pedestrian bridges. You go walk over the water to get to the stadium. And then you have this translucent roof stadium that you can't face west because that you have the setting sun. So that's but you can kind of do it so you could still get like a little downtown in it. But if it's translucent roof, it doesn't really make a difference. So the stadium right there on the water, the big structure around the waterfront, condos, you could do condos on the other side, kind of surrounding it. So you got your residential as well. You're making, God, I mean, come on.
I tell you what,
you
need to be in the meetings, because the way you just broke that down, you've got it from where the sun's coming in.
Yeah.
You've got this well thought out.
Yes.
You need to be in the meetings. I don't know who the point person is to get you
in.
in there, but you need to get in there.
Like what? You look at what Beckham's doing in Miami. Have you seen that? Yeah. This is all their own. They're not begging for money. Everybody's, Hillsborough County doesn't have any money. Hillsborough County is not going to write a blank check to Stu Sternberg. Stu Sternberg will not sit down with the TSA and have meaningful conversations about what this project is going to be. He just wants how much money can you give me? And I'll go work with the developer. That's not the way it works. If Hillsborough County is going to give you $350, $400 million of public money, they have to have input into the project, and they have to make sure that the public is getting their money out of it. That's the politics of it. Okay. If you want full control, then you don't get any money. Go do what Beckham's doing. Okay. Do it that way. Arthur Blank got $250 million from Atlanta on a $1.5 billion stadium. So all this, it's not the new plan is, it's not all public money, and you can build these things and have control over it. I mean, you're talking about an entertainment district where you're bringing, 150. I mean, you can have concerts in there. You can have other baseball tournaments in there, configure it so you can do soccer games, maybe a bowl game. Let's do some creative things. And you have this huge iconic structure in downtown Tampa. Imagine what kind of tourism that's going to bring. You're flying in and you see this huge structure with bars and restaurants and retail and residential and all that stuff. And the Rays anchor that. Can you imagine? Are you kidding me? You're not going to see, 14 to 20,000 every Monday through Thursday night, and every weekend, 32,000 in there. Of course you are. Of course you are. Have some vision. And Hillsborough County, why should Hillsborough County foot the bill on that? Can you imagine how much money you're going to make as a developer selling, these condos? You got 2-bedroom condos in downtown Tampa now going for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
$1.5 million for a 2-bedroom condo.
Yeah.
You want to build a condo tower with 300 units and you wonder what you're going to sell those for?
Yeah, it's still, I think that in general, I'm at the point of frustration where it's like I see all these other cities doing it. I know this is a little different too because it's football, but like even the Titans, like they're moving at a rapid pace, getting this going.
Yes.
They just released their rendering.
Look at that stuff.
Look at this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, now granted, this looks a little too SoFi-ish for me.
Yeah.
I hate these style stadiums, but it's just the way it's going. But look at like the entertainment center they're able to put around this. And
why? Because Nashville has become a destination city.
And Nashville is a growing city. And I feel like Tampa Bay is as well.
Yes.
And we're just not capitalizing off.
You got to keep up with the Joneses. And listen, that's because Sternberg doesn't want to do this deal because he wants to get as much money out of St. Petersburg in the redevelopment. It's all about what he makes on the deal. He doesn't really want to develop and go into the future. He just wants to cash out right now. So fine, sell the effing team to Daryl Shaw, who can put together. I was joking with somebody the other day. What's Brady going to do in the offseason? Dude, you're not moving to Miami now because that's where Gisele's going to be based, right? Mm-hmm. So she's going to be down there. You're not going to move to Miami, right? Be the king of Tampa, bro. Be the king of Tampa. Go get Jeter or A-Rod or whoever your rich buddies are. Put together a consortium, buy the Rays, develop it down here, and then spend your entire life kicking Miami's ass. Kick the Marlins' ass, get a piece of the Bucks, kick the Dolphins' ass, and own it. And, be Gisele versus Tom, Miami versus Tampa. Oh, come on, baby. Come on.
Tom.
Come on. Let's do it. Let's do it. I got so many great ideas. I'm just flowing today.
You're full of them
free
today.
flowing.
Full of them today on a Tuesday.
But seriously, I mean, there are a lot of rich people that would line up. Dr. Patel, you're the man. I need to get him on the show and talk him into it. He's such a great man, and he's so philanthropic, loves Tampa, would love to do something like that. And this just in, he's loaded. He's loaded. And a great dude. I would love to get him on to talk about it. But that's what this needs. This needs leadership. from somebody else besides Stu Sternberg. And Major League Baseball, I mean, what a crown jewel that would be for Major League Baseball. Huh? What a crown jewel that would be for Major League Baseball. To have that here, we'd have an all-star game. We'd get players because players would then want to play here in Tampa Bay like they want to play other places. It would certainly give us a lot more revenue to spend on players. You're going to be putting it in the heart of 2.4 million people within 30 minutes drive and 6 to 7 million people within an hour and a half drive when you include Orlando and the surrounding areas, the burgeoning I-4 corridor, which if you haven't driven from Orlando to Tampa recently, like I've been doing a lot lately, there are so many housing developments that are going in. I mean, the population probably in 10 years in this area is probably going to be close to 4 million people within a 30-minute drive. 45-minute drive. You're going to have mass transit coming into downtown that'll drop off blocks away from where this stadium would be. I mean, this is a layup in a high development area where you go try to find a piece of property like that in a downtown city in a major market. Good luck. But we happen to have it here. And we have a baseball team that needs a new stadium and a new home. I mean, this is a freaking no-brainer. No-brainer. And, I know the Bucs are, there's already rumblings about the Bucs needing a new stadium. I mean, my God, that stadium, the one they have is fantastic. It just needs a freaking roof.
The reason why Tennessee needs it, because, I mean, we were there for the what do you call it? The Stadium Series game. That's the first time I've been to that stadium, and a lot of people there. I didn't observe it much, but everybody that goes to those games, though, says that
it's
stadium.
Just like Raymond James.
I know, but everybody there says their stadium is actually very run down, and I guess I wasn't looking for those stuff.
It is. But Raymond James is
But
not.
in general, they want to build that stadium because they want to get all the other big events, and they can't do that as it is right now. So I see that.
We got to compete with that.
We got to compete with that, though.
Yeah, and we could talk about bowl games, and I don't know if you can configure it baseball and football anymore. And then I don't know. I mean, I would like to see some genius engineering go into it. That would be awesome if you could build a structure that could do baseball and football in a good way, not like the old Riverfront stadiums, the multi-use crappy stadiums of the 70s. If you could do it in an innovative way, which I think you could,
probably
with the technology we have today, I don't see why you couldn't, configure it in such a way, because that would be just an unbelievable situation for an area that really deserves it. Yeah. We really deserve it. And we could host a lot of big time events.
Yeah. Since we're on the subject of the Rays real quick, just one note on the field, because I saw that Lonnie had asked this question. I've seen this a lot amongst Rays fans. Will we ever see Rays sign Evan Longoria again? And does he fit current team needs? I don't think he'd want to come back after what Stu did. Real quick, because we have about 5 minutes here. I did see this whole Evan Longoria rumors because the Giants are going to buy out his $5 million option this year. And Bob Nightingale from US Today, I believe.
Are we still paying him? We paid him this year.
I think so.
Yeah, $5 million.
But Bob Nightingale.
He was the second highest paid player on the team this year.
Bob Nightingale mentioned in like a column about a week ago that about Longoria, he'd be willing to either return to San Francisco or go to the Rays or the Diamondbacks. So the Rays are one of the three teams it's only one of the three teams he's willing to go to in free agency.
What's his numbers this year? I didn't even follow him.
He only played, I got him right here. He only played in 89 games.
Injured.
He slashed 244, 315, 451 with 14 home runs and 42 RBIs. And that's in 89 games. It's decent production. He's 37 years old. I selfishly, I don't know if it fits the team's needs necessarily, but I've always felt like we didn't get the proper send-off for Evan Longoria. I felt that as a fan. It came out of nowhere in December, like I think a few days before Christmas. I wasn't expecting him to be dealt like that, and it just kind of happened. Yeah, exactly. There you go. It's perfect timing. There you go. I would love to see it just for one more year to get that proper send-off, be a depth player. I don't know, platoon. I don't think it would hurt. The Rays don't have a lot of veterans. What would it hurt? I think more people would go to the games, believe it or not. If Evan Longoria came back for 1 year, the Longoria jerseys would sell like crazy. Everybody would break them out again from the closets. I think there would be an uptick in attendance, potentially. It'd be a good business move.
I could be wrong, but I don't think it moves the needle. And it's expressly against most everything the Rays believe in from a structural standpoint. He doesn't fit.
That's what I'm saying.
And I envision, Wander Franco being a third baseman and Taylor Walls being a shortstop. or vice versa.
No.
You know,
You don't want him to stunt the growth of anybody or
Right.
feel like you have to play him.
Right.
But he says his priority is being somewhere he wants to be.
So
And obviously,
he's not going to be okay being a part-time player.
I don't think he'd have a problem with it at this point in his career because he's deciding if he wants to play in general.
I just think there's so many other things that the Rays have to worry
Yes.
about. And I would like them to, go get a bona fide, first baseman.
Aaron Judge is available.
Yeah. Imagine that.
He's in Tampa the offseason a lot.
Yeah, well, he ain't playing at the
He's
Trop.
in Tampa,
listen,
not St. Pete.
Listen, here's the thing. If we had that new stadium in the works and it was going to be coming online in the next couple of years, that would be an option.
It's all report he's going to the Dodgers are going to be bidding, so
the Dodgers will be bidding against themselves at the end.
Yeah, so see you later.
I really don't care about the Yankees, frankly, but how do you as a Yankee fan even, consider Aaron Judge leaving the Yankees? I mean, how do you
Lord,
not
please let it happen?
How do you not just open the bring? You guys understand how much money the Yankees make a year, right? Like the Yankees could have a $400 million payroll and still have still make a profit. They own the YES network. They print money, literally print money, and for Steinbrenner to not just what do you want? How much you want? Okay, good. There you go. I mean, he's Aaron Judge. He just hit 2 home runs. He was 1 for 16 in the NLCS, but I don't know. Whatever. I don't care about the Yankees, but if the boss was alive,
if they want to let him walk,
I'll
be the first one to line up and tell you to let him walk.
What if he walks to Toronto?
He is not going to Toronto. I bet you if he goes
walks
anywhere,
to Boston.
Ooh, that's the only place in the AL I think he'd go is Boston. Other than that, I think he's a Giant or he's a Dodger.
Yeah, he's a California kid, right?
Yeah. That's why the Giants are going to be big in this.
Yeah, I see him playing. I see him playing in San Francisco.
If the Dodgers do it, we just need to abolish the MLB and start over.
Yeah, MLB has
that's where you need to step in and be like, no.
For a while there was some times when these young. I think that's why they expand the playoffs. To give you the feeling that the Rays, they made the playoffs. The real payroll teams can do it. They were not even in the class of anybody in this, and that's just fodder. You can get in the playoffs, but you're not gonna do anything.
Well, worry about today because we got Leftwich to listen to, we got Brady to listen to.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, there's going to be some things happening with the Rays stadium here soon. I really do, and that Major League Baseball study, the fact that they put it out and the Rays didn't, clues us in that Major League Baseball may be taking over this process because they know the Rays and Stu are not going to do it. That's the biggest thing you need to pay attention to. So that's good. All right, that'll do it for us here. Our thanks to Haley Hunter, who joined us today, TJ Rives as well. Tomorrow, we got a big show for you. Sal Paolantonio, ESPN. Nobody's covered more Super Bowls with Tom Brady than Sal Pal. He knows him personally. We're going to have him on tomorrow. Also, Scott Reynolds, who was not able to join us today, will join us tomorrow. So big show tomorrow, Scott Reynolds and Sal Paolantonio. So don't miss it. And we will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Go Bolts!